Hello Pisces, welcome to your 2024 year ahead reading using the tarot. Welcome back to any returning viewers and especially to those who have watched these year ahead readings in the past. I have pulled a tarot card for each month of 2024 and I'm going to interpret those messages intuitively. I will refer to a second deck as well to pull another card just to flesh out the reading, go a little bit deeper. Oftentimes we see repeating cards, so those duplicating messages shed a little light on messages that really need to be like hammered home, as well as if there's like themes or any flowing interwoven messages throughout the year ahead. But I think we should just get right into it. Before going month by month, Pisces, I just want to take a zoom out bird's eye view at this and the overwhelming energy I'm getting for you guys. I'm a Pisces too, so let me just like immerse myself in this right there with you. The message I'm getting strongly for us is that this is a year of empowerment. December ends with the Judgment card, which is a major arcana card. This is the big deal here. And it is Plutonic in nature. And we think of Pluto and we think of death, rebirth, transformation, metamorphosis. We think of these kind of deep undercurrents and our psychological progress that we make from the moment we're born to the moment we transition. But there's something that Pluto always wants. It's always to empower us. So I see this like very enriching fire yang expression through the entire year. So we're talking leadership, we're talking integrity, courage, we're talking about ambition and success. We're talking about feeling empowered overall. So we're eliminating any victim complex this year that April, Aries, North Node, eclipse, conjunct Chiron is really going to help the collective heal a lot of victim narratives that are at play so that we can step closer and closer to our individual purpose and our purpose as humanity overall moving forward. So let's look at this now month by month, Pisces. So the start of the year, we actually have a couple of 5 cards. The 5 of Swords for January and for February the 5 of Cups. Well, yes, the 5s can be something that feels a little more tight and constricting. And I think why not get them out of the way right at the top of the year? So, you know, we're in January. You may or may not have had your 5 of Swords energy play out already. But the 5 of Swords can be something that, like I said, is restricting and confining because it makes us sometimes feel small. It makes us feel like we've messed up or somebody else owes us an apology. There's been a mistake that's been made. There's been a issue that needs to be rectified. There is a solution still to be found with the 5 of Swords. And it's kind of that like last hurdle niggling thing that's bothering you at the moment. So ideally, and wouldn't all Pisces like to idealize the situation to a certain degree, but ideally we'd be starting 2024 not a care in the world, and overall, I mean, you probably don't, and I hope you don't, but there seems to be something that's just bothering you a little bit, and I want to go deeper into what that might be. It's not a major arcana, but I'd say it's still irritating. I'd say it's still something that's like you're putting it on the back burner, or it's in the back of your mind almost. I have the 6 of Wands, okay. But at the bottom of the deck there is the Devil card, which will appear to us in September. In September, there is a challenge for you where the breakthrough to this ultimate sense of empowerment by the end of the year really comes to culmination. So consider January a preliminary trial for you to assert yourself and to validate yourself. So that's what I think it is. Somebody in your world in January won't give you or refuses to or is unaware of the need for their, or how important their approval is to you. And that's okay. We seek our peers' approval, we seek our family's approval, we seek society's approval. and we can validate ourselves, and that's the real message, the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands is a validation, and it usually comes with a big round of applause. And for some of you Pisces, there is this spotlight on you in January, which is kind of doubling down the need for the result. Okay, so there happens to be in January more focus on you. People want to know what you got to say. People are following your stories online. People are calling you up, and you just feel there's like this buzz around you. And some people are in more of a sort of like spotlight role or public presenting role, or you have to make a presentation, or you have to unveil or kind of reveal something about yourself. And for that reason, the stakes can be higher, and you might feel like there's more pressure on you to get the result, get the sort of clap on the back and kind of be applauded. But you do feel like your popularity is on the rise. So at the same time, there's this pressure for everybody to like it, everybody to receive it really well. And sometimes the frustrating thing can be that the people that we care the most about or have an emotional attachment with, they could be family or they could be friends or, are from our hometown, whatever it is, sometimes they're the ones that won't give you that validation you're looking for. Now consider this, it's just going to be a deeper message for you to go within, find that power we're talking about in 2024, for you to validate yourself, Not everyone's going to get it. And that's okay. The Five of Cups in February. So another 5 energy, but look, we've got 5 of Swords leading to the 6 of Wands. So I feel like each situation gets balanced out for you, and as you go, things are getting balanced out. The Hermit and the 2 of Swords came flying out of the deck. There's another storyline now emerging in February for you where you really do have to reflect. The Hermit card is shining their lantern on the 2 of Swords. You have to reflect on a certain decision. Just bear that in mind. I'm going to keep going, but in February there is something that's playing out where you deeply need to consider why you've been so indecisive about this. It's almost like you don't have to make the decision in February, but you have to consider why this decision is so hard to make. So you might already know what decision that is. The 5 of Cups for January, we're talking about a completely different vibe, by the way, because March, April, May, we're in this fiery energy right away. Queen of Wands, King of Wands, and the 10 of Pentacles. So we're talking massive portion of the year towards success, confidence, establishment, growth, and abundance. But we got to get through February. Let's see. 5 of Cups. So you're disappointed with the result in February, you're disappointed with an outcome. Okay, the 10 of Cups. Oh darn. Okay, the 10 of Cups though, as you can see, rainbow theme. Compared to the 5 of Cups, which is like, sometimes we're seeing something here that looks a little forlorn. They're focused on the cups that are spilled and what's missing. The 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is so fulfilled, the whole family is here. It's a dream come true. You might feel that in February somebody is missing, there's an empty seat at the table. And February, we're going through this kind of, at least on the northern hemisphere, we're in the bleak midwinter part, right, from January into into February. And there is this kind of like natural retrospective that comes with this time of the year, because we know that spring is about to kind of unfold for us, at least on the northern hemisphere, and we know that life is about to really start, and we know that we're about to come into full bloom and into a more dazzling expression and joy and abundance. And so in January and February, it seems like you're having major successes, Pisces, and under the surface, 6 of Wands, victory, popularity, recognition, 10 of Cups, fulfillment, and a real deep sense of radiating happiness. So under the surface, these timelines are available for you, but you seem to be focused on, let's say, the more negative. Okay, that's okay to gravitate towards pessimism and vacillate back towards optimism. Come on, we're on a spectrum and having a human experience here, please. But there is a push through the days that feel heavier in January and February, but it makes it possible and easier, or it eases it at least, because of the overwhelming good things that are also unfolding for you. So the Five of Cups and the Ten of Cups, I think that emotionally you're just missing somebody. It doesn't mean that you're not going to see them again. It doesn't mean that the relationship will never be the same again, necessarily. It just means that you miss that certain connection. The Two of Cups is the rebirth that's just awaiting you. You have to mourn your losses in February and come to terms with what is no longer, but at the same time what can be birthed now anew. And some of you are really going to get that dream come true situation unfold for you in February. The Queen of Rods. So we see this as the Queen of Wands sometimes. She is that bitch, right? This is who you've been waiting to step into. I know it's a fire energy, and we do have an Aries card at the bottom of the deck too. I know it's a fiery Aries energy. Some of you are Pisces with a lot of Aries in your chart. But I get the Queen of Wands to be quite a Pisces energy too. I'll tell you why. They're the one court card in this deck to me that really makes magic happen. Like really manifests, like knows how to manipulate energy. They have their magic staff. The sunflower is just it's a very kind of geometric sort of and divine symbol, I think. And it's just so rich and kind of talks about inner gold, inner light, inner confidence. So something about you managing your role in March, stepping into a role that is just really impressive to people, impressive to yourself. You know, people are probably full of admiration for you by March, Pisces. You know, this Page of Wands has been sneaking up. He comes again for us I love the Page of Wands, happy to see you, you know, in November, but it's the second time I've seen it at the bottom of the deck. So travel really is coming up a lot for you this year as well, Pisces. So, you know, all through the year there seems to be opportunity for you to travel, maybe more than other years this year, I would say that. Oh, beautiful. Queen of Pentacles. So the double queen energy here in March tells me this. March is a time for you to really seat into that yin feminine, because like I said, I see 2024 about being this kind of like more assertive, self-confident, direct, and achievement oriented. And that's not to say that there's nothing that's going to be to do with your inner world and your creativity and your flow state. Actually, March is one of those times where you have really continued to this journey of you cultivating this inner richness that just like spills out and touches, Midas touch, everything that you do, so that more abundance, because the queens are in essence about abundance and fertility and growth. This is about inner richness and just a really sense of overall well-being. There is an earthy queen here and a fiery queen here. So you can really be seen, you can really manage your shit in February, but you can also enjoy it, have an amazing quality of life and feel really restored. You love your domestic situation in March. Home and living is looking great. It's the perfect time to redecorate. It's the perfect time to get busy around the house. Even to move, I feel like you could be doing very well there. If you rent a property, this is an amazing time to just secure good tenants. Vice versa, if you're looking to rent, you find an amazing landlord. This is a great time perhaps to do that home renovation, or to look into something that like you really want in terms of like your desires and in terms of what you want your house to look like, or your family goals. This is a really great time for that. Basically, like overall money, Queen of Pentacles, resources and time are balanced so well for you, and they're really thriving. You're thriving in March. Of course, it's Pisces season, let's have it. But also just like you're having a good time as well, and you're really enjoying yourself. I love two queens, and you know, who wouldn't want to see double queens, because it's just a really positive symbol for abundance in the month of March. And not only that, April is incredibly abundant by the sounds of things, or the looks of things really. The 10 of Pentacles. So the 10 of Pentacles is one of the top dollar cards of the deck, okay? Yes, it can be mainly material prosperity, and that material prosperity that comes through in April could be around the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, which happens on April 20th, and that's in the sign of Taurus. So Pisces, I want you to figure out where the Taurus part of your birth chart is. That's going to be well, there's a build-up all through April and into May, but it does hit exact on the 20th of April. There is a configuration between Jupiter, planet of expansion, luck, growth, opportunity, and Uranus, which is liberating, and it's progressive, and it is often surprising, and it's often paradigm shifting, but it's limitless when these planets align together. So the Taurus area of your chart, building up all through April into May, is going to experience this not never, but long time since this has been seen for you, like kind of like limitless expansion on a certain area of your life. For some of you it will be money, for some of you it will be partnership, looks like business opportunity, looks like alliances being formed, it looks like a windfall of necessary resources for you. We also have eclipses happening in March and April. So far, you know, Six of Swords. So far I'm not getting like major eclipse energy, although it could be April where there is a more radical shift. The bottom of the deck, Wheel of Fortune, that really just talks about this windfall fortune, something coming through that seems like, you know, unprecedented even, but well-deserved, and just truly very abundant for you between, I guess, I'm looking at March and April here. May is great too, so, you know, it's a shit hot couple of months. Okay. So April, we have an eclipse in the sign of Aries as well. April is quite a standout month astrologically in the collective. So with eclipses, there can be this sort of either very subtle background like drop or backdrop of like, oh, things are kind of beginning and things are ending, and that's the nature. Or it can be like quite in your face, okay, wow, job change, departure, I'm leaving, I'm going somewhere else, you know, oh, I've sold my business, I'm packing up, I'm going to go travel the world, like where there's like this kind of shift, like a real vibe shift rather. The 10 of Pentacles represents a culmination of a goal with success and victory, with a nice payout, with something all been like wrapped up together. Some of you will be selling your business for a great price, or some of you will be selling a property or receiving a monetary gain due to something that you maybe have built up, or you've been an investor in, or you're getting an investment somehow. And for some that will genuinely be to move elsewhere. The Six of Swords represents a transition. It represents a journey or a departure. So some of you will be using this to go travel the world, or to move, or to basically transition from what you're doing now. So there could be this like real ending in your world in April, so that you can start a new chapter in your life, or that it might not even be brand new, but it's a desire for you to move elsewhere. A lot of you are going to be moving towards a smoother sailing energy, which is good, because we have the Five of Swords in January, where, you know, you might already be dealing with this. It's that trickier energy I spoke about. It looks like by April that's very much settled, and like you don't even really think about it anymore. You've processed a lot of it. You've moved past a lot of the you know, the sort of more negative thoughts that were coming up for you, and some of you are not going to just necessarily forget, but there is a more soothing breakaway from the issue that has been troubling you in January come April. The King of Rods. Okay, so there's a a partnership energy that emerges as well for you Pisces, March, April and May. I have the Queen of Rods and I have the King of Rods. So to me, that's an aligned union between you and somebody else. Or you and another couple of people are aligning for this perfect sort of trifecta energy, which is just kind of like bringing everything together. As I say trifecta, I see the Three of Wands. So that's really perfect. For some, there's a third party, there's a second party entering your world. They could come as a duo. It could be you and your spouse, you and your business partner, your best friend, your boyfriend, girlfriend, introducing a third, or that all just kind of coming into existence. But again, more fiery energy. I feel like now in May is the time where this true sense of exploration of your own leadership abilities, uncharted territory for you Pisces for some, even if being a leader, being a manager, being the boss, being the person that is established and people come to you as an authority, even if this is something you have experience with already, and many of you will, doesn't just have to be the CEO of a company. You could be the leader in the household, you could be the leader of this society or group or team. You could be a pioneer in your field. But there's something about even deepening that and kind of going more public in May and being more of a spokesperson, being more of an advocate. So you have a lot of courage kind of channeled through you in the month of May, and I see that for the whole rest of the year, and it's time for you to broaden that. So the Three of Wands speaks to an advancement on your path. It speaks to going big, go big or go home when we see the Three of Wands. I have been seeing this Three of Wands for myself a lot, and not so much anymore. I kind of have worked with that energy now. Hopefully I'll be working with it again because it's a really enjoyable energy to be in. We're shifting timelines with every choice we make, and when we see the Three of Wands, we know we're elevating to a higher and better and more abundant and enjoyable timeline for ourselves. With being three, like we talked about, the queens are also three. We're not just having a black and white or one path and that's our only option, or there's no option. We're seeing, we can go right, we can go left, we can go up, we can go down. So we know that we're in alignment because there's a seemingly limitless amount of possibilities for us in May. And some of us will be really, really tapping into this sense of like, I'm a leader, I'm respected, I'm an authority, I advocate for the right causes, I'm very empathetic, which is, the divine masculine is going to be an advocate for the causes that are important with the maintenance of empathy and not suppressing anything. So May is just like leaps forward. We're taking big leaps forward in May. It's an adventurous spirit, it's travel oriented, it's moving abroad, it's going abroad, it's setting your sights on a great beyond, it's having it's having something take off. It's having like your goals and your vision and your purpose really, really take off. So in June, there's like this shift, okay? Maybe June, July, August are like, it's a very quick, it's like blink and you miss those 3 months. It's that you're very busy. It's that you have so many avenues to explore. Plans are changing. You're adapting. Things are just moving, and you're trying to find something in the middle of all this that kind of is a semblance of structure and stability. So it's a period of change in the middle of the summer, Northern Hemisphere summer at least. I like that. Let's see. We're kind of we're shifting here, and we're looking at a new storyline. So June specifically represents a change in direction. Where are you going now, Pisces? Oh, did you not expect to be going that way? Well, it's a good thing that you're open-minded and curious in June because you're excited about this shift, Knight of Swords. And it's not chaotic, it's not random. It actually feels really purposeful, and inspired. You're like, oh, I've got to do this. Like it's urgent in a sense. The Emperor. So more strength, more of your gravitas on display, more of your establishment, you know. The Five of Swords at the bottom of the deck here. Okay, the haters, the people that won't validate or just refuse to, you have triggered a shadow, Pisces, in somebody. You've gotten to see your own shadows lately, and I'm going a little bit back to January at this time. The hood here, you know, you have kind of like alerted what people have been hiding within themselves. They've been hoodwinking themselves, and your bravery and truth and like authenticity, I think, Pisces, is really triggering the shadow in others who aren't ready to step into that yet. And because like my takeaway on my bird's eye view of your year really was about this stronger sense of sovereignty, empowerment, like you didn't come here to abide by certain nonsense, like you came here to have enriching and authentic experiences, to truly step into your purpose and to be yourself unashamedly, unabashedly be you, and very fiery, very raw and primal even, and that really, really triggers others. But at this point in June, it's not that you're not past it in January, but you're still moving through it, and you're still addressing why this is bothering you or why you even care. Like you might actually say to yourself in June, I can't believe I even cared about that. That's not to dismiss what's going on in January. It's just a new perspective that you have, and without the experience you had in January, and it could be coming in from December too, of 2023, you wouldn't have gotten to this period of established strength. So in June, you switch directions. Things are very busy, very motivated energy, but you're really motivated to find your place in the world. And it's not like you haven't established it, but you really are like motivated to sort of finalize it. The Emperor likes to kind of just know that this is like fixed to a certain degree, but they want to know that this is sure. They want to be self-assured. They want everyone else to know that they have a right to be doing what they're doing. They don't want to be questioned, right? It's not that they don't want their authority to be questioned, but they don't want to be questioning themselves and having any kind of imposter syndrome. So you switch directions, and you know right away that this is exactly what you're meant to be doing, where you're meant to be, and there's absolutely a seat at the table here for you, Pisces. Emperor card speaks to promotion. Emperor card speaks to establishment and consolidation. So this is really at a time in your life where you're not flailing. Even though things are moving around you, you have a really strong foundation within yourself, but also in the material world, in your career, in your profession, in your calling. But also the Emperor is in your family, you know, in your tribe, in your community, a sense of belonging. And even as you travel and traverse, and I do see so much travel for you this year actually, moving and shaking and toing and froing, but even as you do that and you kind of are here, there and everywhere, there is still this very much like lasting impression of you and what you stand for. And with the Aries energy that's really coming through very strong, we're, you know, all the fire signs are here. Aries, Leo and Sagittarius speaks to adventure, travel. It speaks to leadership and all those wonderful things like confidence. I get the impression overall that you're really going to be leaving a lasting impression on the world this year. It's not a watery reading, Pisces. It's not a mystical, magical, romantic, highly creative, and even a divinely spiritual reading this year, which I know are some of your best and most embodied qualities. But this is about you pushing past the current limitations of what society expects from you, or you're evolving so profoundly. The ultimate card of evolution is here at the very end of the reading. Like I said, Plutonic cycles, whoa, we think intensity. But like I also said, ultimately it's about empowerment, and the soul is always trying to remember when it incarnates every time, just bear with me, I'm getting a little woo-woo, I'm getting a bit Pisces here on us, but through each incarnation, we're kind of, at least to kind of one of the people that I would study would be Jeffrey Wolf Green, and his, he would always say that there are two desires that emanate from the soul. One is the desire to unite to source, and its equally strong desire is to separate from source. So we'll make a series of choices in every lifetime. Ultimately we'll desire to separate from source, ultimately we might desire to unite with source, and we'll be on different levels on each lifetime. But there is with that, okay, so where I'm going with that is like, that's Pluto in its essence, evolution and evolution of the soul, ultimately to unite with source. But there's no shame in separating and making continuous decisions to separate. With each lifetime, the spiritual cycle of evolutionary consciousness will evolve to be empowered enough to know that nothing in this man-made Saturnian paradigm, wherever the hell we are, is here to confine or restrict you or disempower you. So stay focused on your reality. It's not always easy, especially when there are terribly troubling things that happen miles and miles away from us, and also in our neighbour's house. So we just are trying to this year focus on our own reality as much as possible, while of course still holding our Piscean empathy and compassion for others. This year seems to be just something is different than that. I don't know exactly what it is. It might be different for everybody else. The Four of Pentacles. So the Emperor is a 4, and now we have the Four of Pentacles in July. And the fours are very much about stability. So this is a period of your life which is actually quite stable, but there's still like exciting change happening, which is nice. The Ace of Swords in reverse with the Eight of Swords under the at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, so remember I said kind of like June, July and August, there's a lot of change, and you're trying to kind of maintain some sort of a stability or foundational safe holding space for yourself. The Eight of Swords in reverse, or the Eight of Swords rather, and the Ace of Swords in reverse. I guess something is troubling you in July because you're kind of getting negative feedback from yourself. Maybe you're in one of those Eight of Swords tendencies to kind of not see the real potential in yourself, or to see a way out of a certain situation that feels terribly restricting and confining. If anything, the 8 is really just the devil's little sister or little brother. So a situation is brewing in July, which seems to culminate in September. And it is one of those times where you're really going to have to kind of hunker down in your bunker of sorts. Where do you feel safe? Where do you feel secure? We're not asking you to stay stuck here or anything like that. We're not asking you to just never free yourself from this again, but there is some sort of a I guess spiritually there's some sort of a security that your soul needs to springboard in the Eight of Wands into more movement coming up in August. But something about July asks you to just stay where you are, in a sense. Not stay where you are in this kind of feedback loop of sometimes negativity with the Eight of Swords, let's be real, but to stay where you actually feel safe, not where you just feel guarded or overprotected, but to make sure you feel like this is a good space for me mentally, physically. And everybody has limitations, and there are times where you're pushing past limitations, but then sometimes, Pisces, it's nice to honor that you're human and you need to decompress, and you are hearing a no anyway. A no comes through for you, and it seems like in the month of July. It's going to be different for everybody. A no to a request, a no to this time off, a no to this job. So you're kind of finding a base and bringing yourself. It's nice to probably, with these swords cards coming through, these speaks to the nervous system and brain chemistry and all of those things. it might be a nice time for July to have a practice, and why not practice now, a very much quick go-to where you can just settle your nervous system, return to center, and return to your core pillar of integrity and strength within you really, really quickly, so that so that certain rejections or certain imposter syndromes, like I said, don't freak you out too much. The Eight of Wands, okay, but things are just, not stagnant for long, and I don't think you have to hunker into the bunker for too long in July. 8, you're very much, something is unfolding for you. Whether, so the Eight of Wands is very synchronistic, very destined almost, and sometimes it's happening all around us and things are just being worked out. Sometimes we're the sort of spanner in the works and we throw things out there and just let it kind of gather up some speed, but whatever it is, it's all unfolding anyway. Everything is moving around you in August. Again, it speaks to like travel, there's a lot of you moving back and forward or visiting or exploring, and we're taking vacations. The Nine of Swords, and we have the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck, and we've got Judgment. And the Ten of Swords. All right, so we know where our challenge is this year. We also have the Nine of Wands here in the reading, and we also have Judgment. So we're starting to see a couple of duplicating cards here, which is suggesting a storyline here that's coming through. Okay, so we're seeing where the challenge is this year. July, August, September seems to be where there is this. And I like the way this happens quite often when I do a reading. We'll notice that there's a real period of abundance and empowerment and advancement in your own sense of self, and a very unshakable kind of core has developed for you. Establishment in the Emperor card. This is me, I know who I am, and I have a right to be here. And that strength and that momentum and victory is coming again October, November, December, but to really establish that, or to kind of like cement it, or to pass the tests that the universe has a fun way of and tests, nobody likes to be tested, but to pass the sort of like level of our spiritual advancement. And we don't have to upgrade if we don't want to. We can stay where we are. That's okay too. But in order to do that, if we were to choose to upgrade and to evolve, we sometimes are experiencing this sort of push through fears, push through insecurity, and face the shadow, face the stuff that's lurking. The Devil card really knows how to get in the cracks, okay? So the Eight of Wands, the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Swords, the Ten of Swords. What am I seeing here? Basically, I'm seeing that, quite rapidly you are, for some Pisces, quite rapidly you're meeting your insecurities, you're meeting your triggers in August. You're being invited to advocate for yourself. You're being invited to really like not let anybody push you around. And the thing about this is, if there's something that you should be moving towards, like I said, this is destiny, it's synchronization. If there's a fate that you're meant to be meeting, fate won't wait, it's going to want you there on time in the right place so that this upgrade can take place for you. And if you've been falling behind or falling short of certain inner work that needs to be done at this point, the Nine of Swords is going to have you address what your buttons that get pushed, like why does this bother you? Why have I got a complex over this? Where does it come from? What is it that I'm missing? And it seems like August is going to be here to sort of help you, Judgment card, evolve into this kind of Nine of Wands, this real sort of strong and persevering and kind of winner energy, if I'm honest, for you. And look, the Ten of Swords, yeah, it looks like a daunting card, but really it's all about the breakthrough. So we have to go to these places in August and September. Let's look at the Devil card. It's where the big fear for you is anyway. So that we can push past. There is a Pisces eclipse happening in September on the 17th. And this is the first Pisces eclipse we've seen in quite some time now. The guts of a decade. It's a North Node Pisces eclipse though. So it's actually going to be, well, let's look at the Pisces part of our charts for this. That's what we should do. We'll look at the Pisces part of our chart. This is the area of life that is getting dialed up now, between Pisces and Virgo in your chart, but specifically Pisces in this eclipse, 17th of September. And there is a issue that's starting to be brought to life. It can be a beginning or an ending. It can be just something pivotal. It can be something subtle, but it has great importance, which will be seen in kind of like a longer term 6-month interval check-in point. You can really see the 17th of September eclipse energy, what it kind of plays out and remains to, or sort of becomes. But the Devil card to me is pointing like, all right, let's just get to the bottom of this. What the fuck is the problem, Pisces? What's holding you back? What's that one thing? What's that karmic complex? What's the fear? Let's look right at it. Let's look at it in the face. The High Priestess, ooh, deeply intuitive, you know, deeply personal, deeply deep. The King of Wands is there too, so just remember how you felt in May. You're still that person. You're still that vibrant, happy, energized, dynamic, and like draw everybody to you. And you're still that person, even though you've been through a different set of experiences from May. The King of Wands here coming close at the bottom of the deck is here to remind you to recall that energy. The High Priestess would actually suggest to me you might already have an idea what I'm talking about. Is it something to do with self-worth, the Hierophant? Is it something to do with this Knight of Wands here? Your sense of attractiveness or your sense of physical presentation? Is it something to do with that thing, that Death card again with the Four of Pentacles, that you've just never been able to let go of, that grudge you've been holding, that resentment? Is it anything to do with your, I guess self-worth is coming up for me with the Hierophant card. You already know what your sort of current cross to bear is. It might come up in your relationships, it might come up in your family ties, it might come up with money. You know, Devil card, it could be an addiction, it could be a compulsion. So you'll know what the unhealthy thing is, so to speak, or something that's like holds you back, or you beat yourself up. It's something that's there to be looked at and understood and brought in. It's not something to be ashamed of. There's no growth that happens through shame, only love. So the High Priestess is like, it's going to be highly individual, of course, but that you'll deeply know intuitively what this is in September, what the issue is. And I think some of you already know. That's what the High Priestess speaks to me about. And then, you know what, we're in a different ball game in November, or October, November, and December. So if you've got like goals, or if you've got a dream this year, I mean, the first half of the year, well, rather like, I really love for you February, March, April, May, June. But if you've got something that you didn't achieve in those months, or that you're saving for the end of the year, it really does look like you have fire in your belly, a lot of motivation, and a lot of drive to achieve what you need to achieve this year. And you can really like crunch it in at the last part of the year if you like. Let's look at the Nine of Wands for the October period. Early October, on the 2nd, there is an eclipse in the sign of Libra, and it's the final Libra eclipse of the Libra Aries series of eclipses that have been happening since April of 2023 at that point. So you'll be like a year and a half into that, and you're going to be wrapping up a chapter that began in April 2023. That's just something to note. But we have another 10 of Pentacles here. So massive success is underway for you in April, but there's even more of it coming in the month of November, because this time you've got the 10 of Pentacles with the 9 of Wands. So this speaks to a very advanced stage of your journey, advancement on your chosen career path, advancement towards your purpose and your vocation and your calling, advancement in financial security, and total abundance, and we see luxury here, we see investments, we see property, we see a generational sort of established situation here. It could be business with family, it could be shared property with family, it could be something that really like speaks to something that's yours. There's ownership here. So that's really positive for the month, and for November or October. You could also just be getting gifted things. For some of you, like, you're going to be really training very hard, working very hard. Eight of Wands, Eight of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands, working tremendously hard, really pushing yourself, but with an end in sight, and the end is something that you really want. So this is an attainment for you in October, pardon me, but it doesn't get handed to you on a plate, Pisces, okay? You've got to go for this, but the results will really be worth it. So the Page of Rods, a nice bit of fun for you in November. Like, this has been not an intense reading, but it's not the fluffiest of the readings I've done so far. You're actually like maybe the 10th sign I've read for, Pisces. So we're kind of coming to the end of these readings, and this is just such a, strong isn't a word that, regrettably isn't assigned to Pisces so much, but this is a really strong year for you. Another page, the Page of Swords with the Page of Wands. So this is about new experience. So I guess now there's been the achievement of a goal has happened by April, even for some by February. You've really gotten what you wanted out of that cycle. And then again by November, you're like, I've really gotten what I wanted out of that. There's a lot of 9s and 10s in this reading. Which does show that you're kind of like 2024 being less of a year overall of new beginnings, more so completion, targets reached, goals attained, and sort of culmination is a little bit more signature here. And I feel like a lot of that is happening out there in the world with your projects and your goals and your dreams and your wishes, but also about something within yourself. Certain targets you wanted to reach spiritually, emotionally, financially, those kind of things. Now in November, this seems with Page energy, it's very fresh, it's very new, it can be novice, but it's a lot about the kind of experiences that you're interested in having next or starting to have, and there's something exciting and fresh about it. So I feel like November is actually when it's like maybe 2025, I don't know, is a little bit more about like what's happening, what's being undertaken, and where do you want to begin and stuff like that. Travel again, content, maybe you want to write about what's happened in 2024, maybe you want to start putting pen to paper, maybe you're really starting to kind of just get like busy in your mind, and there could be content or contracts signed or deals, book deals, for some deals to travel, deals to work abroad. Some of you are stepping into like a legal role or administrative role for which is a little bit new for you. Page of Rods and Page of Swords, just that there seems to be a real chatter and interesting conversations. I don't know how much more to say about that. November's a long time away. Judgment card, okay. Oh, I love it. Nice to see these two queens popping out. We've seen the Queen of Rods already, Queen of Cups. So a very comfortable end to the year where you're feeling amazing, looking amazing, and you're feeling really connected to your role as a healer, as a lover, as a creative, as somebody who's just gentle and kind and compassionate. So that's the kind of watery energy we usually associate with Pisces, right? But we haven't lost that. Before we get to the Judgment card, which is just the kind of like what we've all been leading up to here now, I would invite you to subscribe. Of course, give this video a like. If you'd like to comment, I'd love to hear from you. How has your January been so far? Or do you see any of these themes already being relevant or forecasted by you? You're highly psychic, Pisces. The Judgment card. So the Judgment card is about a turning point in your evolution that occurs in December, but all of this has been leading up to it. Some of you in December are going to get a second chance. a big second chance. What? To do what? To face a fear, to do something before that you wouldn't have done, to actually go for it. Oh, love it. Ace of Pentacles and the Sun card at the bottom of the deck. Another chance to take that opportunity that you thought maybe had passed you by and wouldn't return. But I think you knew that nothing that was for you was ever really going to pass you. Not even, no mountains in the background here could stand between you and this. So an opportunity comes for you to have that life you wanted, or to take the road that you at one point detoured away from. The Sun card, change is occurring within you, Pisces. It has occurred. It's been brewing all year at this point, I think, and that's what it's all about. Greater authenticity. The Sun card is so free and alive and happy, and it's really blessed and radiant. The Ace of Pentacles speaks to aligned pathways, opportunity, and a new life can be possible for you. The Judgment card speaks to a complete metamorphosis at times. So everything that you go through and experience in 2024, just remember, it's leading up to this massive evolutionary jump forward for you. I love that. December looks amazing. Pisces, that's your 2024 year ahead reading. I hope it's such a great one for you. I want it to be a great one for me, and I think it is going to be by looking at this reading. So let's have it. Talk to you soon.